In this video, we'll work with MATLAB's interactive plotting tools to explore our graphs and figures. So let's call this working with interactive plotting tools. And we'll do this together. X equals, let's say 0 to 4 pi in increments of 1/100th of pi. Don't need to see that. And then y will be the cosine of all of those. So we're using vectorization here to take a whole bunch of cosines all at once in a single line. Now we will select, so I'm going to run this and then I'll show you what we do. So run section, that gives us x and y here in the workspace. And we're going to select x and y in the workspace window and right click, we'll choose plot XY. So let's show you what happens. So if I click on both of them, I'm going to hold down my control button to highlight both of them. And then right click, I can open, I can save, I can plot. So here's one way to plot without having to type the word plot ever. If I click on plot XY, I get this. This is the same kind of thing we've seen before if I had typed plot XY into the command window, but let's use the menus now to manipulate this. So if I go to File, that's not an interesting one. Let's go to Insert. I can insert a title, and here it is. I'm going to type here, let's cosine of X. That's all I'm doing here. Oops. So I can insert a title, I can insert X label, here's my angles, keep doing that, and here's my cosine values that I get. I can change the color, maybe green, teal, purple. Let's use the edit. Insert. Edit is a fun one. There's a lot to do here. Figure properties, axes properties if we wanted to mess around with the axes. Edit. Sure, figure properties. And this gives me a whole new window called Plot Tools. So I'm looking at it. I've got this color map that's going on. You can select another color map. That could be useful if you're looking at a 3D. Figure color. I can change the background. That's for the background of the plotting box. I can change let's double click on the curve itself, and then I get some other things here. More properties, plot type, we can change the type there. For property inspector, we've got a color, maybe I want to make it purple. Marker, remember how we can type in a different marker? Here I can change it directly from the window, so I can play around with X's or diamonds. I'm getting, it looks a little funny because there's so many of them, but so maybe I better go back to none. Hexagram, anyway. And the size of the marker, I could change that as well. So you can change the title, axes labels, the size, color of the line, line width. Maybe I want it to be a really wide line, so I could change that here as well. All of these things can be done from the command window or from a script, but they can also be done from this figure window. So you should be able to create a legend somewhere. I think that's in Insert, Legend. And so now I've got this. I can double click that to make some changes to it. The location, maybe I want it over there or over here or somewhere else. Color and things like that. So spend a few minutes playing around with this to see how you can make changes to it. One of your challenge problems is to save a JPEG and turn that in. So let me show you how to do that. If I want to save the figure, one way to do that is with this save. I can either do File and Save As, or the save icon here. But let's do File and Save As. And probably the most universal way to save it is a JPEG. That's JPG. You can save it as a MATLAB figure. The advantage of that is if you open that file in MATLAB, you can continue to make these kinds of changes. But if you don't care about that, if you just want the picture, a JPEG is a nice way to go. So I need to find it, there it is, and I'll call this, if I'm turning in a challenge problem, if this is my actual challenge problem, I should use the challenge problem naming convention. So maybe that's CP, I don't know, 3 or 4 or something like that. And then save that as a JPEG so that I can upload it to Moodle to turn it in. You can also put it in a Word document or use it in a PowerPoint presentation or something else. So now that I've saved it as a JPEG, I can put it anywhere I want. All right, this was a quick introduction to MATLAB's interactive plotting tools. Hopefully you spend a few minutes playing around with it to see what kinds of things you can do.